You know that feeling, right?
Yeah.
When you just want to know what's best, like
Mm-hmm.
the best coffee somewhere or maybe thinking bigger, the actual best city to visit. We all do it. Spend time clicking those top destination lists.
Totally. Daydreaming about where to go next.
Exactly. But those lists can be, well, a bit random sometimes.
Yeah, very subjective. That's why today we're looking at something a bit more solid.
Right. We've got this Euromonitor International report, the Top 100 City Destinations Index 2023.
And it's pretty comprehensive, not just based on, vibes.
Not at all. They dug into, get this, 55 different metrics.
Wow, 55.
Yeah, across 6 main areas, things like the economy, business performance, tourism infrastructure.
Okay, so the practical stuff.
Practical stuff, yeah, but also policies,
Yeah.
attractiveness is a big one, health and safety, and even sustainability.
So a really rounded view.
Definitely. So our plan today is to unpack this, see what makes a city rank high, point out some maybe surprises,
Yeah.
and look at the big travel trends coming out of it.
Sounds good. Like a quick deep dive into what makes these cities tick for tourists.
Exactly. Your fast track to the real story behind the rankings.
Okay, so where do we start? The top, I assume.
Let's do it. The big winner.
It's Paris. Again, actually. Second year in a row.
Ah, Paris. Not a huge shock, maybe, but still impressive to hold that top spot. Why, though? What did the report say?
Well, they highlighted really exceptional performance across several key areas. Policy and attractiveness was one, tourism infrastructure another, and just overall tourism performance.
It's got that blend, doesn't it? History,
Yeah.
but also it feels dynamic.
For sure. And, the report mentions the 2024 Olympics coming up.
Oh, right. That's bound to add to the buzz, I imagine.
Definitely ramps up the dynamism. And when you talk about policies, that's interesting too.
Yeah, like what kinds of policies give it an edge? Is it just about being Paris?
Well, probably not just that. Think about their investments in things like pedestrian zones, more green spaces, that kind of proactive city planning.
Okay, yeah. Those things really improve the experience when you're actually there.
Exactly. It boosts that attractiveness score, but also just makes it a nicer place to visit. Deliberate choices matter in these rankings.
So, beyond Paris, what else jumped out? I heard Europe did pretty well overall.
Oh, absolutely. That's maybe the biggest story here. 7 out of the top 10 cities are European.
7 out of 10, wow.
And if you look at the whole list, the top 100, it's 63 European cities.
63. That's dominance, really. What does that tell us?
I think it speaks to that unique European mix, deep history, incredible cultural diversity, but also increasingly really strong infrastructure and tech.
So who else is up there with Paris? In Europe, I mean.
Right. So in the top 10, you've also got Madrid, which came in third.
Okay.
Then Amsterdam at 5, Berlin 6th, Rome 7th.
Classic destinations.
Exactly. And then Barcelona at 9, and London just squeezing in at number 10.
London at 10. Interesting. But it wasn't all Europe at the very top, was it?
No, not entirely. There were 3 non-European cities breaking into that top tier.
Okay, who were they?
Dubai came in second place, which is very strong.
Right. Dubai's always pushing forward.
Then Tokyo grabbed the 4th spot.
Tokyo. That feels significant.
It really is. And New York was the other one, coming in at number 8.
So Tokyo at number 4. You said that's significant. Why? Is that new for them?
It is, yeah. It's actually the first time Tokyo has cracked the top 10 in this specific index.
Huh. What's behind that climb?
The study points to a few things. Definite improvements in their tourism infrastructure.
Okay. Makes sense. They've been investing, I suppose.
They have. And then there's the whole post-COVID factor. Japan easing its travel restrictions later than some others, perhaps.
Ah, so maybe some pent-up demand being released.
Could be part of it. Plus, a big one mentioned is the weaker yen.
Right. The exchange rate, I heard about that, makes it much more affordable for visitors.
Exactly. Better value for money is a huge draw, and that likely boosted their tourism performance numbers quite a bit.
So beyond the top 10, looking a bit broader, Asia seems to be making waves too.
Definitely. If you look just slightly further down in the top 20, Asia has a really strong presence.
Like who?
Well, you've got Singapore at 11, Seoul is number 14, then Osaka at 16, and Hong Kong at 17.
Okay, so a solid block there.
Yeah, it really shows the region's growing importance in global tourism. These are super dynamic cities, that mix of cutting-edge modernity and really deep culture.
It's always interesting to see who's new on the list too, or climbing fast. Any notable entries this year?
Yeah, there were a few newcomers highlighted. Washington, D.C. popped up at number 48.
Okay, DC.
Montreal entered at 68, Santiago, Chile at 88, and Vilnius, Lithuania at 92.
Vilnius, interesting. What drives those kinds of changes? Why does a city suddenly appear or jump up?
Oh, it could be lots of things. Maybe increased investment, like we talked about with Tokyo, or maybe a city just gets more recognition for its unique culture or hosts a big event. Sometimes it's just shifting traveler interests.
What about South America? Any representation there?
Yes, Brazil had two cities on the list. São Paulo came in at 54th,
Okay.
and Rio de Janeiro was at 66th.
Right. Still major hubs for the continent.
Absolutely. Key destinations drawing both regional and international crowds with that vibrant Brazilian culture.
Now, the report didn't just rank cities, did it? It also talked about broader trends in travel.
That's right. And one of the really big ones was sustainability.
Ah, yes. Sustainable tourism. Feels like that's gone from being a sort of niche interest to, well, pretty mainstream now.
It really has, and cities are actively responding. That's what's key.
How so? What are they doing?
We're seeing more investment in good public transport, for instance,
Right.
trying to get people out of cars.
Makes sense? Less congestion, less pollution.
And also a real focus on tackling over-tourism, finding ways to manage the crowds.
Right, because you don't want tourism to kill the thing people came to see.
Yeah.
How do you manage that, though?
Well, the report mentions some specific strategies. Things like potentially limiting tourist numbers in certain hotspots,
Controversial, maybe, but I can see the logic.
and also actively promoting lesser-known areas, trying to spread visitors out a bit more.
That seems smart, encouraging discovery beyond the main sites. Good for local communities, too, potentially.
Exactly. It's all about preserving the place, the culture, while still welcoming visitors.
But it's not all smooth sailing for tourism, is it? Did the report mention challenges?
It did. It pointed towards some potential headwinds, as they put it.
Like what?
Yeah.
What are these top cities and the industry generally up against?
Well, the big ones are probably familiar. The rising cost of living globally is a major factor.
Yeah, that affects everyone's travel budget.
Definitely. Then there's ongoing inflation, which is related, and just general geopolitical volatility or uncertainty.
So economic pressures and global instability. That sounds like a tough mix.
It certainly presents challenges. Resilience is going to be key.
So given those challenges, what does the report predict travelers will be looking for? What kinds of travel will be popular?
The expectation is a growing demand for value, people wanting to feel they're getting their money's worth.
Okay, value-driven travel.
Right. Which might mean more interest in local experiences, maybe shorter trips or destinations perceived as more affordable. And linking back to what we just discussed, that interest in sustainable options is expected to keep growing too.
So value and values in a way.
That's a good way to put it. Value for money, but also aligning with personal values around sustainability and local impact.
Okay, just before we wrap up, can we quickly run through that top 10 again, just to have it clear?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, number 1, Paris.
Paris.
2, Dubai. 3, Madrid. 4, Tokyo.
Tokyo is big jump.
Yep. 5, Amsterdam. 6, Berlin. 7,
Oh,
Rome.
the European core.
Pretty much. 8, New York. 9, Barcelona. And 10, London.
Got it. Paris, Dubai, Madrid, Tokyo, Amsterdam, Berlin, Rome, New York, Barcelona, London.
That's the top 10 for 2023, according to Euromonitor.
Okay, so let's try and summarize the key takeaways from this deep dive. Paris is still number 1.
Holding strong.
Europe is massively represented, dominating the list.
Undeniably.
Tokyo's rise into the top 10 is a really notable shift.
Big news for Asian tourism.
Sustainability isn't just a buzzword anymore. It's a major factor cities are actively working on.
Absolutely critical now.
And looking ahead, economic factors, cost of living, inflation are probably going to shape how and where people travel.
Yeah, those headwinds are real.
Yeah. So that leaves us with a final thought, maybe for everyone listening.
Okay.
Considering everything we've talked about, the economy, the infrastructure, the attractiveness, sustainability efforts, which city on this list, maybe not even the top 10, surprises you the most?
That's a good question.
And what does that surprise maybe tell us about what's becoming really important in global travel today? What makes a city truly appealing now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely something to mull over. Think about those criteria, which ones matter most to you when you're dreaming about your next trip. It might not be the same as what tops the index.